video of the president. Now, at first I didn't see what was happening here, but I slowed it down and zoomed in for you. Something's coming out of his sleeve. It looks like a little snake. What is this?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scary and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video I drop. You guys are helping growing the community. I greatly appreciate your support. Find this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. We do it every day, man. Let's seek the truth. Do y'all guys think that was an actual exorcism, or was that an edit, man? You seen these watching together with these kids together, you guys, man. These people being possessed, bro. And we've heard stories. I've heard stories like that in real life, you know, throughout the histories, man, of, you know, exorcism and possessions. That's where all the scary movies be coming from. Some, I guess, the most iconic scary movies are about possessions, man. So, something you might want to think about. Was that cap or real?
Indonesian demon caught on tape. Real or fake? Leave a comment. Until the next one, stay grim.
Is that fact or cap? I'm gonna have to go cap on that one.
Clip of Venus spirit explaining the incident.
Motornya jatuh, terus Dede nggak tahu pingsan, bangun-bangun mata Dede ditutup, terus Dede lagi di matiin semua, Mama matiin semua buat Dede.
She don't sound happy at all.
Kabur ke Jakarta, jangan lupa Mbak itu anaknya Mbak itu. Karena itu anaknya polisi, Mbak. Iya, anaknya polisi. Nggak tahu kalau yang Egy.
Yeah, you can just tell, man. I mean, you could hear from, I guess, from the clip we watched together, man. She sounded in distress. She did not sound happy at all. She was crying too. They were all right there, man. Thankfully, they translated for us, man. So we saw what she was saying, but you know, just by hearing, just going off by what you know is perceived. Yeah, she wasn't happy at all. You don't need to freaking know the language to know that, man. Some things are universal.
Can I show you a scary video?
Yeah.
No, because this video is so weird. This video went viral in its own country. It comes from Indonesia and it was posted in 2021. And I had to use Google Translate to understand what exactly was happening. And it basically says that the user who posted this, Diana, was looking for her cats at 1 a.m. when suddenly this appeared.
Okay, found the cat. Something standing right there? 4K, bro. If your cat going at 1 a.m., I don't have to do this.
There once was a young girl named Imelda. Every day after school, she had to attend religious classes. But the only way there was to go through a thick forest. neither the sun nor the moon could shine through the densely packed trees. And since no one else in her class lived in her neighborhood, she always had to walk there and back completely alone. The first couple of times was nerve-wracking, but after a few weeks, she had grown used to the darkness and had her way home memorized. One night after class, she was headed home on her usual path, guided by her flashlight. She heard a rustling behind her, but she ignored it. She had memorized all the sounds of the forest by now and knew it was just the stray cat that liked to roam in the area. She took another couple of steps before she heard a thump. That was a new sound. She stopped walking so that she could listen for the sound again. It sounded like it was getting closer. Imelda took a deep breath. She aimed her flashlight in the distance. The light beam fell on something, but she couldn't quite make out what it was since it was so far. It looked white, and, judging its size compared to the trees, tall. She continued to stare, trying to figure out what she was looking at. Then whatever it was jumped, about 40 meters closer to her.
Hell no.
Imelda took a few steps back. How did it jump so far so quickly? Then it jumped again. It was now right in front of her, and there was no longer any doubt in Imelda's mind what she was looking at. It was a decaying corpse, wrapped in a white shroud, bound at the top of its head, its neck, and its feet. Its withered, pale green face was the only thing exposed. It had 2 deep holes where eyes should have been. Imelda screamed and ran in the other direction. She knew the forest well and decided to take a different path back home to try and lose this figure following her. She squeezed her small frame through a very dense section of trees and crawled through the other side to her neighborhood. She looked behind her briefly to see if it was still behind her, but she couldn't see it. When she got to her house, she ran up to her mother. "Mom, something was following me in the forest. It was wrapped in white and it looked dead." Her mother had an eager look on her face. "Did you hug it?" Imelda stared back at her mother in complete disbelief. "Why would I do that? I never want to touch that thing. I don't want to see it ever again." Imelda burst into tears. "You were lucky enough to see a pocong," her mother explained. In Muslim burials, a dead body is wrapped in a white shroud and tied at 3 spots: above the head, on the neck, and at the feet. After 40 days, the body is unwrapped so the soul can be freed, but if left untied, the body will look for a living person and won't stop following them until they're unwrapped. "And if one is following you," her mother continued, with more excitement than Imelda was comfortable with, "you must hug and hold it tight so it will bestow your family with good luck and riches. Don't you want us to be rich?" "I don't want to touch it, Mom." Something hit the door. "Imelda, you have to open the door." She grabbed Imelda and held her in front of her, while Imelda protested. "Do this for us, sweetie." Her mom opened the door. There stood the pocong, looking down at Imelda's tear-filled face. Her mother pushed her forward, and Imelda held onto the shrouded corpse. Then her mother helped her pull the pocong to the ground so they could untie it. They stared at the motionless corpse on the floor and wondered, did it work? Over the next few days, Imelda's mother was the most cheerful and giddy she'd ever been. She poured herself many cocktails in premature celebration of her incoming wealth. She drank a little too much one night and was struck dead on the road. Imelda was devastated by the loss of her mother, but her pain was eased when she was adopted by a very wealthy family.
So it transferred to her. She did all that. Her mom did all that, man, you know, for the money, man. Would you hug a dead corpse for money? I know some people will, but nah, man, that ain't for me, man. I don't care how much money you get. That's asking for some bad. What is that? got to me the most, man. I'm gonna call him the Pig Man, bro. It's like a hybrid, bro, of a pig and a man. I don't know if that was a skinwalker. It said it's come from Indonesia. This is Indonesian lore, so I'm gonna have to do my research on that one. First time seeing that, man. You sick to my stomach seeing that.
Indonesian urban legend of the Jenglot. The Jenglot is a mysterious and controversial creature in Indonesian folklore. It is often described as a small humanoid figure, usually measuring a few inches in length. The creature has sharp fangs, long hair, and is believed to have mystical powers. Its appearance is said to be grotesque and eerie. The legend of the Jenglot has gained attention in Indonesia and other parts of Southeast Asia. Some people claim to have found or possessed these creatures, which are said to bring good luck, wealth, or even the ability to grant wishes to their owners. The Jenglot is often associated with supernatural abilities and is sometimes kept in a container, such as a small box for protection and display. However, skepticism surrounds the existence of the Jenglot. Many people believe that these creatures are simply hoaxes or elaborate scams created for profit. Skeptics argue that the Jenglot could be made into various materials and are sometimes created to resemble tiny dolls with human-like features. While the authenticity of the Jenglot is debated, the legend has captured the imagination of many and remains an intriguing part of Indonesian folklore and popular culture.
Tuyul are mischievous spirits from Indonesian folklore,
Crazy.
believed to be the souls of stillborn or aborted children. These small, childlike beings have the ability to turn invisible and sneak into homes, where they seek to steal money and valuables. Some claim to have the power to control them through rituals and offerings, but it is important to treat them with respect and kindness. Mistreating or neglecting Tuyul can have dire consequences, as they may bring chaos and misfortune upon their summoners. To protect against their mischief, people often use offerings and charms as a means of appeasing the spirits and warding off their disruptive activities. The legend of the Tuyul serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between the physical and spiritual realms, urging individuals to maintain a respectful and harmonious relationship with supernatural entities. It reflects Indonesian cultural beliefs and traditions, highlighting the significance of acknowledging and honoring the spiritual forces intertwined with daily life. The story of the Tuyul captivates the imagination, offering an intriguing glimpse into Indonesian folklore and emphasizing the importance of ethical conduct and reverence when encountering the supernatural. Have you ever heard of the...
Basically, what it's saying is, man, have to have respect, I guess, for the natural and the unnatural spiritual world. I guess that's what they call it. I guess that's that where like prayer comes into play. You know, different cultures, man, have different, I guess, systems. We learning, putting it together piece by piece.
The Indonesian urban legend of the Kuntilanak. The Kuntilanak is a popular ghostly figure in Indonesian folklore, also known as the Pontianak. It is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth or experienced a violent death. The Kuntilanak is often described as a beautiful woman with long black hair, pale skin, and a flowing white dress. One distinctive feature of the Kuntilanak is its ability to shapeshift into different forms, often appearing as a beautiful woman to lure its victims. The presence of a Kuntilanak is usually accompanied by a strong fragrance of frangipani flowers. It is believed that this scent intensifies as the ghost gets closer. The Kuntilanak is known to prey on men, typically targeting those who are alone or vulnerable. The Kuntilanak is said to have sharp nails and fangs, and it is associated with acts of vengeance or terror. It is believed to seek revenge on those who have wronged women or children. Some stories depict the Kuntilanak as a malevolent entity, causing harm or even death to its victims. In Indonesian folklore, people often share stories and cautionary tales about the Kuntilanak to instill fear and remind others to be wary of their actions. Many communities have rituals and practices to ward off or appease the Kuntilanak, such as avoiding certain areas at night or leaving offerings of rice, flowers, or betel leaves.
Did you know
Smell
that
flowers,
the
get away.
is present in folklore throughout the world since practically as long as folklore has been around, with some weird cases of mer beings coming from dark corners of the world, and some coming from places that you may have never heard of. There was an interesting case that was reported by Japanese soldiers from the Kai Islands of Indonesia in 1943. The Kai Islands are located in the southeastern part of the Molucca Islands in Indonesia. In 1943, Japanese soldiers stationed with a surveillance team
on a small remote island with the Key Island chain reported seeing strange creatures in the water that were said to have limbs and a face somewhat similar to human, but in mouth like a carp, filled with needle-like teeth. These bizarre creatures were described typically being around 5 feet tall and having pink or salmon-colored skin, as well as prominent spikes on their spines and some on their heads, or even their necks and shoulders. Unlike the more classical mermaids, these mermaids were not described as attractive maidens and did not have holy fishtails, but rather possessed 2 long arms and 2 prominent frog-like legs, both of which ended in wicked talons. In one case, 2 of the odd creatures were spotted playing in a lagoon, and another was reportedly seen swimming near a beach in a manner similar to a human doing a breaststroke. One report was told by a startled soldier who recalls seeing one of the creatures on a beach one night. After the soldier had thought it was a child until it turned around and he could see in the moonlight, and its facial features were not quite right. The creature quickly ran headlong into the water upon being seen and did not resurface. They were allegedly able to get around on land to some degree, with another soldier claiming to have seen one running about on the sand at dusk, seeming to be looking for something. However, they were claimed to be most at home in the water, to which they were able to dart and zoom through with ease. Like and follow for more stories.
I didn't know the merbeings, man, they originated in Indonesia. That's where it came from.
110. Ariana Grande reportedly has a longtime stalker named Paige Neiman who tries to impersonate the famous singer. She's been obsessed with Grande since she was 12 years old and has allegedly undergone several plastic surgeries to look like her despite being only 20 years old. When the Titanic sank, the richest passenger on board was business mogul John Jacob Astor IV, who had enough money in his bank account to build 30 Titanics. He ended up giving up his spot in the final lifeboat to instead save the lives of a random woman and her daughter.
Hero.
These were the last photos of Garrett Miller, taken just minutes before a soccer goalpost tipped over and struck him in the head, killing him instantly. In 2013, a family dog named Killian was protecting a baby boy from an abusive babysitter by standing between them and growling at her. This made the boy's parents suspicious of the babysitter, so they hid a recording device under the couch and heard her swearing at the baby while possibly shaking and slapping him. The sitter eventually pleaded guilty to assault and battery of a child and was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Man's best friend right there, bro.
Toys that have been banned because they're just so dangerous. The first one, I don't know how this was ever legal. It was a yard dart. It had this giant metal spear on the end. You would throw them basically at each other across the yard. These caused lots of damage. This is a little sky flyer. You pulled a string, it went flying up, but the dangerous thing here is it would poke people's eyes out because they came out with so much force. This is an atomic hit. It had uranium in it. People were getting radiation. Crazy. Follow for more.
Uranium?
Things happening in the world right now. After a woman took a DNA test for funsies, police used it to charge her grandmother with murder in a cold case. A woman divorced her husband in order to be with Brad Pitt, only to find out that it was an AI scam. A Philadelphia man who was awarded more than $4 million for an overturned murder conviction ended up pleading guilty in a case where he ended a man's life over $1,200. TSA stopped more than 6,000 weapons at airport security in 2024, and 94% of them were loaded. A Texas woman has set the record for donating more than 2,000 liters of her breast milk. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, has let the world know that Stevie Wonder demoed the Apple Vision Pro. A man disrupted a TV interview where a woman was speaking on her feelings of being uncomfortable in public places, and he refused to leave. The city of Bend, Oregon recently ordered its citizens to stop putting googly eyes on statues.
Morbid facts, part 511. RFK Jr.'s gravelly speaking voice is caused by a rare neurological condition he developed in his early 40s called spasmodic dysphonia, which causes the muscles that open and close the vocal cords to spasm involuntarily. Here's what he used to sound like before this condition versus after.
And if somebody dumps something into the river that's poison, and it goes into a drinking water intake, and children drink that drinking water, that is child abuse. I think those vaccines we need to have, again, true double-blind placebo-controlled trials on that. There's 25% of Americans.
While the true cause is unknown, people who do a lot of public speaking are far more likely to develop this condition. RFK required a titanium bridge in his vocal folds to be able to speak at all, and receives Botox shots in his vocal cords every 4 months. He says it's painful to hear himself speak and feels sorry for those who have to listen to him.
What happened? What caused it? I guess that's the real question we need to be asking. And public speakers, I guess they're aware of that. Something to think about. Expert level, we know.
Bro, what happened to all of the crazy inventions we used to come up with? Pedestrian safety catchers, baby cages for those who live in a city, multiple changing rooms, projectile nets for police to catch criminals, the freaking mono wheel, and now we've got this. What the hell? Bro, they were even rethinking childbirth from the ground up. Because let me introduce you to the centrifugal birth table. It is a legit invention that was even awarded a patent by the US government in 1963. It works by strapping a pregnant woman to a table lying flat on her back, and then when labor starts, it begins to spin, like fast. 8 Gs, kind of fast. That's a fighter pilot territory. The idea was that the centrifugal force would help assist getting the baby out naturally by supplementing the mother's pushing. And then once the big moment arrives, there's a casual safety net at the base of the table to catch the newborn. There was even a little nifty bell built in that would ring once the baby was caught. You know, just in case the doctor wasn't paying attention. Yeah, actually, maybe on second thought we're better off with this.
Unexplained things caught on camera that will make you question literally everything. This is a video of the president. Now, at first I didn't see what was happening here, but I slowed it down and zoomed in for you. Something's coming out of his sleeve. It looks like a little snake. What is this? Follow from 20.
What was that, man? You know, people in power to be having some strange things goes on around him, but there was definitely something, man, that was coming out of his freaking coat jacket.
2025 just got even crazier, part 9. Firstly, Mark Zuckerberg recently had a meeting with Meta employees and told them that everything I say leaks. It sucks. Well, and you probably ask, how do I know this? Well, the meeting's audio was leaked. Next, a man in the US was just arrested for the death of his own friend who claimed he could dodge bullets while they were intoxicated. Unfortunately, the man could not dodge bullets, and it costed his life. Finally, astronomers just discovered an asteroid named 2024 YR4. The good news is, it has a 99% chance of passing by Earth safely. However, the bad news is, it has a 1.3% chance of hitting Earth in the year 2032. But guys, let's not really worry about this until the year 2032 then.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A man in Venezuela was woken up in the dead of night to a strange haunting whistle. At first, he thought it was his mind playing tricks, but then he heard it again.
You hear that, right?
Dragging footsteps echoed through the silence, creeping towards his room.
Closer and closer.
But as whoever's outside arrives at the door, this happens. Something tries to get inside. The man believes he was visited by El Silbón, a wandering spirit of death from Venezuelan folklore, known to enter homes with open doors. The further it sounds, the closer he is.
Facts that might ruin your childhood. Most of your favorite animal actors are probably dead. Roald Dahl, the famous author of books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, was actually really racist. He was known to be very hateful towards Jewish people. In reality, Pocahontas was 10 and John Smith was 28 years old when they met. And if the movie Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, then Nemo's dad would have become a female after his mom died and mated with his son.
What? I had no idea a clownfish could even do that. That really just freaking made me question my whole childhood, man. The more you know. That's the White House gate. He said, yeah, let me not do this. On sight. Got someone on the roof too? Oh yeah.
This area's gonna be closed. Start going either way. Thank you.
Extreme plastic surgery fails.
It went through with that.
Nobody has been able to explain this creepy viral video. For the past 11 years, a man who runs a TikTok account by the name of Dude, My House is Haunted has been pretty confident that there has been some paranormal activity within his home. He claims that ever since his wife passed away, there have been some strange and unusual things going on. So eventually he decided to leave cameras out and record what was happening and post it onto TikTok, which is the footage that you are about to see. In this video you can see a chair seemingly moving on its own. It moves somewhat slowly until it suddenly is violently pulled into the corner by the kitchen. A mysterious shadowy figure can be seen moving behind the chair, and then suddenly out of nowhere the chair is thrown into the kitchen. Now of course we're not really sure what happened in this video, but I'm having a hard time coming up with an explanation for this one.
Could be edit. Somebody could have been pulling it. That's the shadow.
Forbidden places that you can never visit. Number 1, Area 51 is a highly classified US Air Force facility that has been associated with UFOs, strange government cover-ups, and potentially testing alien technology. Although no one knows for sure what exactly goes on here, what we do know is that the facility itself is actually quite small. But the restricted area in total is about 90,000 acres of land. Next, Banga Fort is said to be the most haunted place in India. According to legend, there was a beautiful princess named Ratnavati and she lived in this fort. Many men wanted her hand in marriage, one of whom was a black magician named Singya. The princess, however, rejected Singya and he laid a curse on the fort which haunts it till this day. There have been numerous stories of people who entered the fort at night and were never seen again. As a result, people have been banned from entering the fort at night. Finally, the Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is said to be a secret group of very powerful people. It's alleged that many presidents and business leaders are part of this group. Every year they meet up in the woods and perform strange rituals, such as setting fire to a big owl statue. No one else is allowed to go in or take any photos. But a filmmaker named Ron Johnson once snuck a camera inside, and he presumably caught the world's most powerful men doing all of these strange things. For more?
He's a legend, man. That's not the first time we heard a group of powerful people came together to do some weird things. You know, man. You know the other groups out there. One of the most famous. I don't have to say it.
Here are creepy and strange videos that no one is able to explain. The next time you're in your room, you may want to check under your bed or behind your wardrobe. In this video, Andy explains his life story in the video chat, but something very sinister lurks in the background. Okay, pay close attention to what happens in the back. From what it looks like, popping right behind, you can see a figure with some hair. No one is sure what it is, but it might be an evil spirit. In this video, we can see a group of kids that are going to dance next to a field while the cows observe from afar. Although everything seems normal, as the kids walk into frame, a boy with a blue shirt emerges from nowhere. Pay close attention again as they walk in. Where does he come from? No one knows. This video starts out with a girl dancing to a popular song on TikTok. However, something very strange happens behind the scenes. As the girl dances, a strange-looking pale hand emerges. And no one knows where it comes from. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for more.
Beware your surroundings. You never know who's watching.
This man took the night shift because nobody wanted to, but a few nights later, he would find out why. Tim from the TikTok page Tim Saber got a job as a night guard at an undisclosed facility. In one of the corridors was an abandoned unit where most of the paranormal events would occur. One night, Tim left his phone to record the abandoned unit, and what he captured disturbed him. A small attic door begins to shake, as if someone or something is up there. Tim grabs a ladder to investigate. What he found is horrifying. There's something in the attic that Tim is not noticing.
I'm getting backroom vibes.
Suddenly, an unexpected loud noise startles Tim. But when he looks again, he finally sees it.
I see that? It's like a little statue. I'm gone, bro. Me personally, I'm out. Deuce.
I want to talk about the O'Fallon footage. On the eastern side of Missouri, a tape was recovered from a camera recorder of a missing man in 2002. This photo found in the footage has marked the most chilling mystery to have ever come out of this county. The man is pictured here. His name was Roy Hafer, and he was sort of an amateur investigator. You know, he would go to scenes with recent crimes, places where he could film, and he could sell the footage hopefully to a news station. And on an evening where he ventured to a hot spot where a woman had gone missing just a year prior, he would never make it home from that abandoned house. A police search was conducted by the following morning, as well as a search of the abandoned home and a search of this underpass where a significant amount of blood was recovered, but his body was not. They would also go on to find his camera recorder, where they would find that final footage. This was the face seen in the last frame of that video footage.
Just disappeared off the face of the earth? What happened?
Animals you probably haven't seen as babies.
What do you mean haven't seen as babies?
Hyenas.
I've seen a baby hyena actually. Tell me that's not adorable. Why is there scary music in the background?
Camels.
Right, I've not seen a baby camel. I'll own that. Oh. Look at the eyelashes, I take it.
Hedgehogs.
That's Sonic.
Hedgehog. Oh, that looks like something else. Oh, he keeps making me take it back. Sloths. Oh my heart, I will adopt one right now.
Raccoons.
This is mine.
Rocket.
Okay, maybe not a rat. They're a bit reckless. Okay, all right, but yeah. Right, okay, you might have won me over there.
Skunks.
Oh no, there's not room for two smelly people in my house, and I'm enough. Oh.
I ain't getting that baby skunk, bro. If you guys could pick any animals at Dot Secrets, which one would you get, man? I'm getting a hedgehog, bro. Call him Sonic. We know, man. Expert level. Right here.
The man seen stabbing that security camera was 29-year-old Waldo Mejia. Now, the neighbors who noticed this disturbing footage actually called the police on Waldo at the time, and he was arrested. But just a few months later, on January 5th of this year, Waldo attacked a 14-year-old boy who was walking to school. The 14-year-old, named Caleb Rios, was randomly targeted. There is no prior motive to this attack, and it's still unknown what caused Waldo to snap. But Waldo approached Caleb from behind and began stabbing. and unfortunately Caleb, the 14-year-old victim, would die from his injuries. Now, this story is disturbing because Waldo had been arrested multiple times in the past, 4 times prior to this murder, including on other stabbing-related charges. Not only had he stabbed his neighbor's Ring video camera, but he had also stabbed somebody in another completely unprovoked attack in New York City. After he was arrested, Waldo was seen screaming expletives at reporters and the authorities, and still there has been no explanation as to why he targeted this random 14-year-old kid on his way to school. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
This video will prove you have thalassophobia.
You passed this video before. Oh, F1. Okay. This one's kind of getting to me, man. You that high up. It's open sea. If you fall, that's game over, man.
Abandoned house of murdered family.
Going in.
This was once a loving family home, but has sat empty since the 1990s when tragedy struck. The family were brutally murdered one night, but the killer was never found. There was talk that on the night in question, there had been an escape from the local psychiatric hospital. Although this was never proven, the locals still believed this was the case. The case was officially closed in the early 2000s.
To this day?
The house now sits, beds made, waiting for the family to come home. There are even plates left in the sink. Locals and prospective buyers do not want the house because of dark figures that are supposedly seen at night.
Don't blame them. Me either. That's bad energy. Bad spirits. You good off that?
This was truly a shocking story, with an even sadder ending.
These are the four most haunted dolls in the world. First is the Annabelle doll, which inspired the Conjuring movies, which, as you guys know, is one of the most haunted dolls in the world. She's able to not only move herself, but also move objects, and is supposedly inhabited by an extremely demonic being, forcing her to constantly be in a spirit box. Then have Ruby, which in my opinion is one of the most terrifying due to the fact that it's a porcelain doll, which all of our mothers and grandmothers have. Ruby doesn't do anything crazy, but the scariest part is supposedly the ancestor who had this doll prior passed while holding this doll, and now supposedly inhabits it. And it's a porcelain doll, which makes it absolutely terrifying. Then have Letta, who's a 200-year-old doll found underneath a house in Australia, said to make noises in the night, moved by itself, and the owner has a specific account of when he was moving, he heard this doll scream while being in the trunk, screaming, "Let me out." I'm good on everything that. Then you have Robert the doll, who in my opinion is probably the most haunted and cursed doll on this list. Said to be so cursed that if you take a picture or look at him without his permission, he can curse you. And this has happened to multiple people who decided to film Robert without his permission. This doll not only moves by itself, but the previous owner has made multiple statements of hearing this doll run inside of the attic. On top of that, the neighbors have seen Robert peeking out the window in the second story, while no one was up there. These dolls, they're scary.
March of 2012,
Keep 'em away from me.
a 5-year-old girl named Maria sat on the floor of her kitchen in a city in northeast Brazil, eating an empada. Just then, the front door opened, and in walked Maria's mother. Right behind her was this young woman. This young woman wants to become her new nanny. In the past, there had been other women who had come by to be her nanny, and it didn't seem to last very long. She told Maria that as soon as they were done, the new nanny would come outside and join her. And after a whole hour had passed by, still this new nanny had not come outside. A month later, Maria was out in her backyard. She heard a commotion happening inside of her house. And then all of a sudden, these uniformed police officers came charging out the back door towards Maria. It would turn out, Maria's father, George Silveira, was not actually her father, nor was Maria's mother, Isabel Silveira, her actual mother, nor was her aunt, Bruna Silva, actually her aunt. They were instead members of a cult called the Cartel Sect. The literal purpose of the Cartel Sect was to eliminate women they deemed unclean in order to reduce and purify the world's population. They would shoo Maria out into the backyard, and then they would murder the nanny. They would then butcher them and stuff the human meat into their famous empadas and sell them to the people in town. The biggest shock of the story is actually the real identity of little 5-year-old Maria. She was actually the daughter of the very first victim of the cartel sect. And ever since, they had just kept Maria and treated her like she was a member of the family. George, Isabel, and Bruna, Maria's fake family, were convicted of 3 murders. As for Maria, according to recent news articles, she was reunited with distant family.
No words for that case, man. That's just mind-blowing. Truly. We seen this, man. We know what this is.
Bizarre facts that'll blow your mind. A bolt of lightning can reach up to 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Researchers found by flossing your teeth, you're actually helping to improve your memory. Jack Daniel, the inventor of Jack Daniel's whiskey, died from kicking a safe with his foot. This caused his toe to break, which ended up getting infected, which ultimately led to his death. And finally, Dwayne Johnson holds the world record for the most selfies taken in 3 minutes with 105.
How was he doing that? He was just going like boom, 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 boom.
2024
What?
just got even crazier, part 19. Firstly, meet retired engineer Tom Brown, and after retiring, he wanted to make a difference in the world by saving rare and lost apples from going extinct. And now in 2024, after nearly 25 years of doing this, Tom has saved around 1,200 types of apples from going extinct. You're a legend, Tom. Next, new words were just added to the dictionary, and I'm going to tell you the 3 words that really stuck out to me the most. The first one being bed rotting, which means somebody who spends many hours in a day in their bed with snacks or an electronic device. But it gets more bizarre, because at number 2 is touch grass, which means to participate in real-world activities instead of online ones. Finally, the last word is the ick, which means a sudden feeling of dislike for something or someone. So, how do you guys feel about these new words that were added to the dictionary in 2024?
Touch grass, my
I
guy.
got stalked by a coyote. Keep your eye on the background, and then what happens in like 2 seconds.
Here's some coyote advice you never asked for from a man who's never had to deal with them. Anyway, y'all know hazing? No, not the college thing. No. Hazing is putting the fear of God in a wild animal to factory reset its behavior. Here's an example. Basically, you want to give him PTSD so he doesn't come close to anything human. Basically, your goal is to have him racially profiling anything on 2 legs. Jokes aside, coyotes are naturally afraid of us. It's when they lose that fear that the trench puppy becomes a problem. And nothing does that faster than when people feed one, even without realizing it. That goes for any animal. But if you bully them on sight, you help them relearn the price of effing around. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as it's with volume and conviction. Obviously, there are exceptions, like if the coyote's hurt, sick, or with kids, and you want to fall back, or else you might have to cash that check. But you gotta think about how they see us. Coyotes have been getting generationally jumped by wolves. But they also know if they stay close enough, they can get leftovers. Coyotes basically treat us like another wolf, so if one steps up, remind him who you are. Because history has proven what happens when you don't. Tourists in South Africa fed the baboons so much that they started expecting it to the point where they don't fear or respect people. That's how you get carjacked by baboons. Macaques in India have gotten so used to people that the government had used their fear of an even bigger monkey called a langur against them. But since owning a langur is illegal, yep, that man got paid to do that. So unless y'all want to be out here wearing wolf suits, get to hazing. Who would have
That's
thought that the
insane.
same guy that plays Art the Clown could pull off such an incredible interpretation of the Joker? And I genuinely believe that with the right director and the right script, this guy could actually be the real cinematic Joker. If you haven't seen the 13-minute short Joker's Wild on YouTube, please, I highly recommend it. It's freaking awesome. Because David Howard Thornton, the same exact guy who brought this sadistic clown to the big screen, can also give us one hell of a freaky-ass Joker. Which kind of feels like a more sadistic combination of Cesar Romero and Mark Hamill's version of the Joker, giving us this terrifying cartoonish performance that we haven't really seen in the live-action versions yet. Also, most importantly, the dude can laugh.
He nailed the laugh.
Yeah, that'll do it. Even the way that they designed him in this short, it feels like they ripped him out of the cartoon and put him into this world that just feels so uncanny. But seriously, go watch the full short on YouTube, because I'd really like to see what could be done with this version of the character.
We've already talked about this
Really?
gigantic Moby Dick animatronic that is under the water and has been there since the 60s, but we're going to talk about it again because I had a nightmare about it, and I'm making that everyone else's problem. So yes, this gigantic Moby Dick animatronic was put there in, I think, 1967, and it has since sunk and is still under there. This is a photo taken in 2005 of it just completely submerged underwater. People on YouTube actually have videos of them diving under there, and it's just like a carcass of itself, and I don't even want it. You can't see it very clearly because it's so murky. But like the first thing that started going bad on this animatronic was its jaw was so heavy that it couldn't sit all the way up, so its jaw is eventually what brought it down. Like its gigantic heavy jaw just made it sink to the bottom of the lake. Like see, here's it when its jaw was completely down and it's just sitting completely up like that. It used to come up and down. I'm going to show you a video later, but this is it without its jaw, and it And yes, this thing is absolutely huge and life size. Like here's it with a boat of people. Ew. Here's it when it was being transported into the water for the very first time. Look how tiny these people are in comparison to this gigantic, huge whale animatronic. Whales are my worst fear of all time, but a whale animatronic completely submerged underwater. Miss me with that. Like, of all the animatronics that I have ever covered on this channel, this one scares me the absolute most. I cannot imagine falling in that water with that decayed, horrific, huge fake whale. I would cease to exist. Like, it looks so sad too. Look at Pookie. He looks so sad. So watch this video of it moving and let me know how you feel. Also, if TikTok is banned, please follow me on my YouTube account. It's the exact same name that's on here. I'm going to be doing this exact same thing in the form of YouTube Shorts. I really hope that doesn't actually end up happening. But if so, please check me out on my YouTube. I love you all. Watch this.
Like, imagine that. Coming out of the water, you think that, you know it's an animatronic.
This pedophile who participated in the events of January 6th might get away with his crimes against children. Listen, I know that this is a hot button political issue, but please, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, stick with me here. Because this guy might get away with the possession, distribution, and manufacturing of CP or child pornography. So this is David Daniel, a man who was there on January 6th, actively participating in the events of that day. Here's a picture of him from that afternoon. So at one point, the FBI was looking into David Daniel based on assault and trespassing charges they wanted to file. And so in November of 2023, they executed a search warrant on his home. And what they found inside of his home is unbelievably disturbing. Obviously, investigators took a look at his iPhone and other electronic devices. And on David's electronic devices, they discovered videos and photographs of him raping 2 young girls in completely different cases that happened in different counties. One of the minors that had already accused him of this was under the age of 12 years old. Apparently, from 2015 to 2019, he had groomed this girl. He had forced her to allow him to take photographs and videos of her when she was nude, and he forced her to shower with him and do other things that I can't talk about here. So on September 20th of last year, he was rearrested on possession of CP and sexual exploitation of a minor charges. However, because of this pardon that he recently received, his legal team could now argue that that search warrant wasn't justified, and this could cause all of these charges to be thrown out of the window. I mean, the public needs to know about this stuff. Here's a guy who's responsible for the rape of 2 minors, one under the age of 12 years old, the other's age is unknown. And this took place over a period of 4+ years, where he groomed these girls, he forced them to pose for nude photographs, he made them shower with him, and he did so many other things to these girls that I can't talk about here. And because of that pardon, because of what that means for this legal case, the lawyers for this guy could literally ask for that search warrant to be nullified. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but they could essentially get all that stuff thrown out of the window because the investigators wouldn't have found the CP on his electronic devices if they hadn't executed that search warrant. So, like I said, no matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on, this should disgust you because there's no way that this guy should be walking free. I have no sympathy and no empathy for child predators, especially a guy like this who's a repeat offender, a serial offender, who victimized children over a period of years. And this is just dangerous stuff. No matter what you think of his actions and the events of that day, nobody
should justify what this guy did and argue that his charges should be dropped.
Raquel opened up the oven and saw her 19-month-old baby with burns all over her body. The child wasn't moving or breathing at all. They called the ambulance, but it was already too late. They lost their child. There were no charges against the 3-year-old, but the parents got child endangerment and they actually got their kid taken away by foster care. The worst part about this is their grandmother actually lived in the same apartment building and could have been avoided if she just would have babysat them.
Why didn't she?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. There are between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time, according to the FBI. If you live a full life, you're going to have shed over 100 pounds of your skin. Cruise ships are legally required to have morgues for the passengers that inevitably will die on each trip. A Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by a true story. A boy was having disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep for multiple days. The same night that he succumbed to exhaustion, he died in his sleep, but not before screaming for help in the middle of the night because of his nightmares. If you try to grab the brain in its natural state, it will fall apart. When you see scientists pick up a brain, it's because they've used chemicals to harden it. There are still 40 million people worldwide that are slaves. 3 in 4 of those are women, and 1 in 4 are children. Follow for more.
You gotta solve that, man. That's unacceptable.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock, he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at, muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
That's why I don't wear those noise cancellation headphones.
Here's why you should stop rubbing your eyes.
That was no joke. You seriously need to stop rubbing your eyes as much, and here's why. Trust me, you might want to favorite this video because you might need this as a reminder in the future. Let's be honest, we're all guilty of this at some point. But I bet you didn't know that continually rubbing your eyes can actually cause really bad damage to your cornea. In fact, it can thin out your cornea, causing it to bulge. I mean, let's go back to the MRI footage. This is someone rubbing their eye, visibly being able to see the pressure it puts on your eye, and the way that the eye can actually change shape, increasing the pressure on your eye by 20 times. And it gets worse if you rub your eyes with your knuckles or the back of your hand. So although the occasional rub probably won't do you any harm, consistently doing it and consistently doing it hard could lead to potential vision loss. So send this to literally anyone you know, because for their eyes' sake, they need to see this. Elon!
Noted, man. I be, rubbing mine sometimes all the time. I'm a victim too, especially using my knuckles, so I didn't know it could make your eye
The two brothers who
bulge.
took their parents' lives 35 years ago may now have an opportunity to be released this year. In 1989, Eric and Lyle Menendez took their parents' lives, Jose and Kitty Menendez, inside their home in Beverly Hills. The brothers were convicted of first-degree murder and were given life sentences without the possibility of parole. But the thing that has a lot of people questioning whether this was fair or not is the amount of evidence they have against their father, showing that he essayed them growing up. Their father, who was an executive in the entertainment industry, had a lot of power, and Eric and Lyle were terrified of him. They were essayed by their father from a very young age until they were teenagers, and they even told their mother, but nothing was ever done. After taking their parents' lives out of fear, new evidence was revealed that their father also drugged and Ard, a 13-year-old boy named Roy Rosello, who was part of a popular Puerto Rican singing group called Menudo at the time. What I find so surprising about this is the amount of support Eric and Lyle have received from family members on both sides who truly believe them and are calling for justice. But on the other hand, there seems to be a conflict of interest. An attorney named Kathy Katie was just appointed to be the new director of the Bureau of Victim Services, which makes no sense because she's also the lawyer for the only family member of the Menendez brothers who strongly believes that Eric and Lyle criminals should stay in prison for the rest of their lives. Many people believe that the brothers were not given a fair chance during their trial and deserve to be resentenced, which could now potentially happen at a hearing on March 20th. If you guys want to support Eric and Lyle's resentencing, you can share this post with the hashtag Justice for Eric and Lyle, or email the DA through the website's form and tell them you support resentencing.
Here's what your birthmark actually says about your past life. If you have no birthmarks, this means you died of natural causes in your past life, or you're a new soul. If you have a red birthmark anywhere on your body, this is a sign that you burned to death in your past life. If you have any skin impressions that look like this that's caused by acne or smallpox, that's where you've actually been wounded in your past life, and serves as a reminder from issues in your past life that you've come to the present to heal. If you have a spot anywhere on your eye, this is most likely a spear wound from your past life where someone most likely killed you while you were sleeping. If you have a birthmark on your head somewhere, and especially if you can't grow hair through it, this means you were probably killed by scalping, which is when someone cuts off all the hair and skin around your head before killing you. And if you have a birthmark like this with a dark center and a light ring around it, it's a sign that you were hit with a poison arrow in your past life.
Here are the creepiest things kids have ever said. And before I tell you these, I feel like I'm obliged to say, I'm so sorry. First up, we've got monster under the bed. One night, a young girl couldn't sleep because apparently there was something under her bed. When her parents came into the room to say go back to sleep because there's nothing under her bed, she replied with, I know. He's behind you now. Like, I'm sorry. Next up, a 4-year-old girl was found in the bathroom by her mum with all of her Barbies. But she was making them float face down in the bath. When the mum asked what she was doing, she replied with, the man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down. Next up, a 3-year-old boy was softly singing in a room while colouring in a picture. His mum actually stopped to listen because she'd never heard the song before. When she asked where he learnt it, he said the lady in my bedroom sang it to me. And finally, a 5-year-old asked his mum when he was going to be 23. His mum said in 18 years' time, and he replied with, well, I hope I don't die again, as that was how old I was the last time I went to heaven. Tell me which story made you go, what the fuck the most? And share this with a friend to just creep them out because you're a good person. Now everyone with me.
A case that makes me sick. The murder of Kenneth White. These 5 teenagers was throwing rocks from an overpass. Eventually, one rock hit the windshield of White's car and hit his face.
Why they do that, man?
You should never swim in any of these places. Number 1, the River Ganges in India. Thousands of people swim here every year, but it's one of the most polluted places on the planet. It has over 3,000 times the amount of unsafe chemicals. And to make matters worse, bodies are even dumped in the river. Number 2, Lake Berisa in California. The reason you should never swim here is because there is a massive spillway inside the lake. This is to make sure the water doesn't rise too high. People and animals have been swept into this spillway, making it a very dangerous place. Number 3, Lake Karach in Russia. Its amazing blue color attracts many tourists. But what they don't realize is that it's the most polluted lake on the planet. When the Soviet Union were making nukes, they dumped all their nuclear wastes into this lake. If you ever swam in this lake, you'll only be alive for about 30 minutes. Number 4, the boiling lake in Dominica. Underneath this boiling lake is red magma, and the lake's water is at 100 degrees Celsius. For more?
Okay, man. That goes to show you, bro. Like, on the surface, those leaks, like I said, some of those, man, leaks, they look freaking beautiful, but they're deadly, man. Beauty kills. I can't believe it, especially 2 of those leaks, man. They just look like regular leaks, man. You never know.
Torch techniques in the entire world that you will wish I never told you about. It's part 4, boys. This is known as white room torture, and once again, it is still used today. It doesn't look like much from a photo, but it's horrific and one of the worst tortures you can experience. Basically, you'll be placed in just a white room, like a prison cell, but it's just plain white. Everything in the room is white. The bed, the walls, the toilet, the shelves, the door, everything. There's no other colours in the room. Now you probably think, well, it's not a big deal, it's just white. Well, you'd be wrong there. By seeing the same colour, especially white, constantly and no change, will drive you insane. to the point where you're hallucinating, smashing into the walls, and possibly even trying to kill yourself. That's why most of these white rooms are actually padded, so people can't just run havoc in the walls. But yeah, for the first day or two, you'd be, it's not that bad. But people will be held in here for months upon months upon months. And after around only day 3, you'll start to go insane. Like and follow for more.
Creepy facts.
How long does the guy survive in the white room?
Signs. Gemini two-faced.
Gemini Two-Face. That's what they're talking about. That's what I'm getting off those
Taurus,
pictures.
stalkers.
Stalker vibes from Taurus.
Aquarius, very manipulating.
Is that true for Aquariuses?
Leo. Good liars.
Leos are good liars. Drop your sign down below.
Cancer, obsessive in relationships.
Each sign got their own fault.
Libra knows how to ruin your day in every way.
Damn.
This has to be one of the creepiest mugshots I've ever seen, and the story behind it is pretty disturbing. This is the man in the mugshot, Christopher Queen. At the time of his arrest, he was 48 years old and living in Pennsylvania. So on election day in 2018, Christopher entered a polling center in Pennsylvania planning on casting a vote. But when he arrived to vote, he was told that he couldn't because he wasn't registered. Poll workers who were working that day even stated that they heard Christopher mention that he was getting paid $100 to come vote, which obviously was not true. But when Christopher arrived, like I said before, he wasn't registered to vote in Washington County, the county he was in. When the workers told him that he couldn't vote, they noticed that Christopher began to shake uncontrollably and became filled with some sort of a rage. He then made the verbal threat that he was going to come back and shoot up the place, and after that, he was quickly put into handcuffs. I don't know the full story behind why he chose to exhibit this expression in his mugshot, but they caught him before he could enact any sort of violence, and yeah, he was arrested. It's worth noting as well that in other news reports that surfaced after this threat was made, Christopher is seen smiling in the same type of manner. Luckily though, authorities were able to arrest Christopher and put him in custody that day before he could cause any violence.
So it looks like Art the Clown could be starring in a brand new horror movie, and we don't have to wait until Terrifier 4. As we know, the actor who plays Art the Clown is David Howard Thornton, who of course plays Art the Clown, and who also played the Grinch in The Mean Ones, which I feel like is a little bit overhated. Yes, it's a low-budget horror movie having to do with the Grinch story, but there are a ton of aspects that David Howard Thornton uses while playing the Grinch in The Mean Ones that really makes it feel like it's Art the Clown. And I feel like it's almost the same thing we're going to be getting in this Mickey Mouse horror movie having to do with Steamboat Willie. A Steamboat Willie horror movie, pretty much Mickey Mouse, more or less. Now yes, technically it's one of those lower budget horror movies, kind of like the Grinch the Mean Ones. And if you've seen the trailer, you might know that it does not look great. I'm going to reiterate one more time, neither did Terrifier when it first came out. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be using CGI either. It looks like they're going to be doing a full costume like they do in Terrifier. Obviously I cannot show you the trailer because it's extremely graphic, and I don't really know if it's something that you want to watch in general. But all in all, I think it's amazing that David Howard Thornton is not only just playing Art the Clown, but playing these other characters. And I'm hoping he's going to be giving it a little bit of Art the Clown inspo. As I said, when he played the Grinch in The Mean Ones, there were aspects of Art the Clown, that funny, that humor, that we only see from Art the Clown. I'm just glad we don't have to wait till Terrifier 4.
Do you ever see a picture that just makes your stomach drop? This is a still from an alert that a woman named Alexis Randall got on her phone. It's from a security camera that was set up in her living room, but she's looking at this and she's thinking the same thing you were. She's like, what's wrong with the picture here? Why did the motion detector go off? But then look a bit closer, specifically at the bathroom door. This man was staring at the camera from the doorway. She spots this picture and she immediately panics and calls the police, but by the time they get there, this guy is gone. What really freaked her out even more is that when police got there, they found evidence that the bathroom window had been tampered with. Further security footage would show that the man had crawled through the bathroom window the night before and was hiding in the hallway bathroom all through the night, even while she was in the house. And if you guys are loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
One of my worst fears, man. Somebody just in your house and you have no idea. I didn't even see that until he zoomed in. Gotta
Here are
be
the most terrifying mythical beasts from around the world. First up, the Wendigo. The Wendigo is described as a gigantic creature which is a near-perfect hunter and can control the weather through the use of dark magic. Native Canadian and American folklore state that the Wendigo is born when a human has to resort to cannibalism to survive. Although possesses humans who are excessively greedy or gluttonous. Before we continue, please show your support by pressing share copy link to receive a brofist in the comments section. Next up, Black Annis. Black Annis is a hag-like creature in English folklore with iron claws and an appetite for human children. Legend has it that Black Annis would hide in trees waiting for her victims, and when she caught them, she would wear their skins around her waist. But if you were careful, you could hear her teeth grinding and run away. Let me know what countries I should do next.
The Wendigos, man. I learned some new lore on that.
Lost inventions that could have changed the world, part 4. In the late 1990s, inventor Jan Slow created the Slow digital coding system. He claimed it could compress an entire multi-gigabyte movie down to a file size of 8 kilobytes. This would have revolutionized the way we store and share data. Slout demonstrated this to executives from Philips by playing 16 movies simultaneously from a single 64 kilobyte chip. And the Philips execs told Slout that he was about to be, quote, the richest man on earth. However, 2 days before the source code was going to be handed over, Slout mysteriously died in his garden of a heart attack on September 11th, 1999, and his decoding software was never recovered.
Now, what do you guys think about that? There's no way that's a coincidence, man. It compacted all those files into like just 8 gigabytes. And there was proof he showed him, man. He was about to be the richest man on earth. Somebody didn't want that product to go through. I don't know who behind that one. That's
YouTubers who've done horrible things. Jay Station was a Canadian YouTuber who would often do pranks and 3M videos.
I've heard
One
of him.
day, he claimed that his girlfriend Alexia was suddenly killed in a car accident. However, he used her death as a way to get views, even communicating to her through an Ouija board. Alexia was revealed to be alive, and once the truth came out, she later revealed how mentally abusive he was. This would later lead to his channel being demonetized.
Times when actors
I remember
couldn't
that.
act. In The Boys, Homelander is one of the most menacing and intimidating villains we've ever seen. In this scene, he knocks over a door just by knocking. But when Anthony Starr realizes he accidentally broke the set, he completely breaks character.
Shit, are you supposed to do that?
Sorry, guys.
You broke the door, man.
I'm sorry. And for this flying scene, they actually filmed it practically, but Anthony Starr could not stay in character.
My life. This. Off. Holy. Okay. Please, let's go.
In Spider-Man Far From Home, there's a scene where Ned shares a big secret with Peter, but Tom Holland couldn't keep a straight face while filming.
I'm a virgin.
I'm so sorry.
In Wednesday, Jenna Ortega's character is dark and unapologetic, but after she accidentally hits Emma Myers with a flashlight, she snaps out of character.
Oh, sorry. Did I hit you in the face right now? Hold on. Are you okay?
And lastly, when filming Rush Hour, Jackie Chan barely knew any English, which led to him messing up his lines in the funniest ways.
Cheese!
Cheese?
Freeze!
Meanwhile, his co-star Chris Tucker didn't know any Chinese, which led to this.
Xixi. Ni xixi. Xixi ni.
See? How different goes that? My English, you even cannot say 3 words!
You try, bro. Rush Hour. Classic, man.
Guess who's back again to traumatize y'all with more creepy stuff? Me! So this is a gigantic, breathing animatronic that is in Shanghai, China, and it's of Confucius, the Chinese teacher. It is absolutely massive. Look how big it is in comparison to that dude right there. And it is in a pool of water that it's only like a foot deep, but it's still terrifying. Look at this. Like, its beard is in the water. That's creepy. Bro is like hyper realistic. Like, that looks like real skin. That is so freaking uncanny. And apparently his chest moves like very, very subtly, so it looks like he's breathing. No. This picture alone heebies my jeebies beyond absolute belief. Imagine that you work in this museum at night and like your job is to go put out the lights in this area of the museum, and you're this guy and you have to put off the lights and turn off the animatronic for the night, and that thing is in the dark just staring at you. Nope. Love his eyebrows though. Like for real, his eyebrows look amazing. He's not at the museum anymore. In the video that I watched about him, he actually is put in a warehouse somewhere. So this gigantic monstrosity is just chilling in a dark warehouse somewhere right now on this planet. How do you feel about this one? Does this freak you out? Would you be able to look at it or get anywhere close to it? Would you get in that water? Me? No.
Here are 3 real ways you can survive encountering a Gashadakuru. According to Japanese mythology, the Gashadakuru is a massive skeletal being known for its unending desire to consume human blood. The first rule you'll need to follow if you suspect there's a Gashadakuru in your area is to always keep your ears open for anything that sounds unfamiliar. Despite its size, the Gashadakuru is known to be able to stalk its prey almost silently, but if you listen carefully, there's a chance you'll hear its bones chattering in the wind, giving you time to flee. Secondly, it's recommended you don't travel alone if you live in a rural area, as the Gashadakuru prefers to hunt people who are by themselves to avoid drawing attention to itself. Finally, it's recommended that you avoid old battlefields or areas where there is an abundance of improperly buried individuals, as these are the conditions necessary to spawn a Gashadakuru. Tag a friend if you're watching this alone, and follow for more.
Thanks for letting
The
us know.
Craziest Human Experiments, Part 6. The Gruesome Beheading Experiments. Throughout the 19th and 20th century, French doctors investigated whether freshly executed victims stayed alive moments after their death. One notable case was that of Charlotte Corday, who was publicly executed in 1793. According to reports at the time, her severed head was lifted up by the executioner and slapped across the face. And to the shock of the crowd, the victim's face apparently blushed and appeared angry. Another famous case in 1905 where a man shouted at a severed head and it apparently responded back. Their main goal was to find out how long a human head remained conscious after death.
They figure it out? I don't know.
This is why you never paddleboard out in the ocean.
And there you have it, recent 4,269, I'd ride cross country on a bike with no seat, pause, before I'd go out into the open ocean. That is a nope of the highest order. Those are South American sea nettles, a species of jellyfish that can have a bell, you know, that umbrella looking part, more than 3 feet across, to go with tentacles that can range anywhere from 3 to 10 feet long. And I don't think I even really need to tell you, but yeah, touching one of those can be really bad for your health. They use venom to paralyze prey, but it can also cause excruciating pain and a really bad rash if you get stung. And if you think that's bad, I got something even worse. This is what a jellyfish pool party in Peru looks like the devil's bubble bath. And guess what? This kind of thing, it's only going to get worse. Because whether you want to believe in climate change or not, the more the Earth's thermostat gets turned up, the more the jellyfish start turning up on us. Since unlike most of the effluent in the ocean, jellyfish actually do better in warmer waters with less oxygen. Especially since climate change means more CO2 means more algae blooms, and guess what likes to eat algae? And you don't have to be in the water to get rocked by jellyfish. There have been times where jellyfish swarms got so bad they dead for it caused power outages because they managed to clog the pipes of power plants. Now go ahead and add the fact that some jellyfish can spawn 45,000 eggs a day, especially if we're actively murking the things that eat them. Just another reason to save the turtles.
Save the turtles,
The
man.
most insane trade war has officially begun because Canada, Mexico, and China are pissed and have now all announced their own plans on how to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. I mean, even at last night's NHL hockey game, you had Canadians booing the US national anthem. So what the hell is going on? Well, you see, yesterday Trump's promised 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China officially kicked in. And what that means is that any goods sent from these countries to the United States, well, they'll now cost companies 25% more, or 10% in China's case. So for example, if a Canadian business sent a car to the US that cost $50,000, today US companies will pay a $12,500 tariff at the border. But then here's the annoying part, they'll pass that cost down to you, the US customer. So the price of your once $50,000 car is now actually $62,500. But this doesn't make sense. Why would Trump purposefully make things more expensive for Americans? Well, two main reasons. The first is more of a longer-term, unguaranteed benefit, but it would be to change consumer habits to buy more American-made products and incentivize more international companies to manufacture in the US. In theory, that means a stronger US economy, more stable jobs, and less dependence on foreign countries. And the second reason for imposing these tariffs would be to use them as a tool to pressure Canada, Mexico, and China into doing what Trump wants. I mean, some of these things that he's publicly mentioned include renegotiating trade deals, stopping illegal immigration and the flow of fentanyl, and then there's also Canada becoming a state of America, but that's a bit more far-fetched. But here's where things get interesting, because instead of just doing what Trump wants, Canada have clapped back with a 25% tariff of their own, and Mexico said they're doing the same, but haven't announced the percentage yet. China reacted in a little bit of a different way by preparing to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. So why is Trump not backing down? Well, just listen to this. In 2023, Canada sent 76% of all of their exports to the United States. That accounts for roughly 19% of their entire GDP. In 2024, Mexico sent 78% of all of their exports to the United States. That makes up 37% of their entire GDP. But for America, their exports to both countries combined only make up roughly 2.7% of their entire GDP. So, simply put, even if they do retaliate, getting into a tariff war with the United States would hit Canada and Mexico much harder. Trump, he knows this, and he's using it. It doesn't make it any less controversial, and it does still mean that people in all three countries will see a price increase. But it seems like, for Trump at least, that's just the cost of America.
Ooh, you saw that? You don't do spiders.
4 a.m. and I hear scratching on the headboard, and I think it's a mouse. And I turn on the lights because it's definitely on the headboard over my head. No, it's not a mouse. It's this. What the fuck is that thing? Does anybody know?
What the fuck?
Second night in a row, and my dog is waking me up to a spider on my pillow. My head lays right there, right on those pillows where this guy's hiding. So it's game time. Night 2, game time. Bucket on. Secured. Look at him.
I guess that's a sign right there, bro. Don't mess with Mother Niche. It will come back to haunt you, man. That first clip, though, it was eerie, man. Freaking bug. And that freaking fish's mouth. You know, fishes, man, be known to have some freaking parasites on them, so you gotta be careful when you're picking them up. Don't mess with Mother Nature. She'll whoop your ass. Y'all can hear it, right?
Go forward. If you're a ghost. Back up.
He got stuck inside Planet Fitness after severe flooding hit Florida, and it didn't take long for Panic to
darkness hit him. At first, he thought it was just a passing storm, but as the water level kept rising, with no way to escape, he pulled out his phone and started recording, thinking this could be his last video. There were about 17 other people trapped with him, all staring helplessly as the flood water pushed against the doors with too much force to open them. They had no idea how high it would rise, and with every passing minute, the situation got worse. His main concern was that he doesn't know how to swim, so when the level of water would raise high enough, he wouldn't be able to move around. Luckily, some of them had food stored in their lockers, so at least they didn't starve. But after 2 hours of waiting, he realized something terrifying. They were surrounded by electric gym machines, now submerged in water, which was extremely dangerous. 37 minutes later, he allegedly heard a woman's voice calling for help, and they couldn't find her. They tried dialing 911 a lot of times, but emergency services were unreachable. With no way out, he recorded a goodbye video for his mother, telling her how much he loved her, and he posted like 40 TikToks from this situation on his page.
Bro, imagine being in that situation, man. Water's flooding in, you can't get out. Only communication is TikTok, man. You just upload and buy videos. And he said he couldn't swim. Whew. Who was that, man? I'll have to try to find that TikTok account. Crazy. That could be added. He said, I don't blame him.
Emma heard a voice outside her door that tried to lure her out of the house, so she did the only logical thing and took out her phone to record what could be her last video.
Smart.
And when she revealed what had been happening for years, everything started to make sense. When she was young, her mom said she heard similar voices, most likely made by a mimic, but it stopped for years until now. Fortunately, this time, Emma recorded it, and the video went viral. viral with many people asking why she wasn't freaked out. And she explained that after what happened next, she knew she's hopeless anyway.
Okay.
She finally decided to look through the window above the door, and this is what she found out.
I ain't seen anything.
Came here to kill me, clap your hands. Well, that wasn't clapping your hands, that was more like just
Okay.
Do you want me to wake him up?
He gone. Oh, she gone, bro.
Me? You keep saying me. I don't know who me is. Please tell me your name.
Рядом со мной. Ты готов со мной поговорить?
That's my bad energy. Don't try to communicate with spirits. Fell through his roof or something? Playing the guitar. Spirits trying to play with your sons? Nah, bro. That's where you gotta draw the line at.
Fala, turma. Vou apresentar aqui pra vocês um pouquinho da minha rotina aqui no sítio, né? Pra quem não sabe aqui, a gente tem uma plantação de mandioca que meu pai fez, né? Bem aqui próximo.
What do you do, Seekers?
My bad. Really? Coming to
So this house, the first time we passed it, Chase said the bottom part was not blinking, it was on, it wasn't blinking. See how the different lights are at different intervals?
Ooh. Hell no, that's Scorpion Fit House. He opened it.
So I accidentally fell asleep with YouTube playing on my TV, and it's like the middle of the night, and then when I woke up for my dream, this was on my TV. Who are you? Why is that on my TV?
New Shadow? It's a speed demon.
Are you going to kill me?
No. I mean, yes, but not for a good long while yet. I don't want you to go to waste.
Oh, hell no, bro. Throwing hands.
Hi, Oliver. So I hear you are getting a new roommate. She is lovely. I have one myself. This doll was with me at LA HorrorCon all weekend, so I have already signed her. So I'm gonna sign a photo for you instead. And yeah, I think you'll find her really lovely concert. Okay. You ready for Spain? Yeah? Okay. 2. Oh.
That picture about to be haunted.
I can hear her moving.
I'm calling it.
It's not scary at all. I'm fine. Everything will be okay. But yeah, I like to think that she protects us, not harms us. We're gonna go with them. Yeah? Yeah.
That's not what we heard. Not the pictures we be hearing you get from that Annabelle doll. She got the wrong info. Giants in 4K. Trying to get his gauge.
Person, dude. No, seriously, pull over, pull over. It's a person standing there. No, it's not. Dude, if you see what I see right now.
Earlier this week that scared them away? Well, this is the creature. It is an unidentified creature. It's known to be very violent. It seems that we don't know any more information that it came from an asteroid or a
It's like a loop. Y'all believe in giants?
¿Quién eres? Tú no eres un gato. ¿Qué pasó? Vete de aquí, ¿quién eres? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Quién eres? Tú no eres un gato. Te ordeno que te vayas de mi casa.
As they continue to record the supposed cat, a few things become apparent. Firstly, the cat's meowing seems quite unnatural, suggesting that someone or something was imitating these sounds. But as if that wasn't enough to prove this wasn't a cat, a pale-looking face can be seen at the door upon looking closely. It's as though whoever, or whatever had been there, was trying to trick the family into letting it in by pretending to be a cat in distress. Not much else is known about this video, which has yet to be fully explained. But if there's anything to take away from this footage, it's that it's crucial to be careful when it comes to answering your door to unexpected visitors, as you never know what might be on the other side.
Facts.
He really killed him. He was.
Why the hell her tongue that long? Oh man. Think that's gonna scare some people off, bro? I know some people who would like that, man.
And they will not. What the fuck? It's magic. Like, please go back into the box.
What the hell?
Are you giving Daddy his tools?
Motherfuckers are real. You real?
I'm like fucking scared. There is no one standing there, but there is a silhouette, like a shadow of.
If you came here to kill me, clap your hands. Well, that wasn't clapping your hands. That was more like just. Oh, cancel.
That was bad.
You don't believe in skinwalkers.
Red. Red!
Give me the side eye.
You're weak.
Oh yeah, here. Come here, little kitty. Come here, little kitty, kitty, kitty.
The kitty.
I got
I just want to get out of there, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Hit that like button, man. Leave a comment down below. Also hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. Guys, I'm going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.